Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about, do they regret dumping you? Okay, so the important thing about this is that you may not ever actually know if they regret dumping you. Because sometimes you get people that are a bit stubborn, like a stubborn ex, for example, that even if they do regret dumping you, regret leaving you, and they want to get back with you, they may not actually ever say anything to you about that because maybe they are too stubborn and they're waiting for you to reach out. But if that's the case, then there's no way that you should want that person back into your life, because if someone is stubborn and they can't communicate how they feel, they're not great communicators. So if they're not great communicators, then you don't want to have a relationship with someone who can't communicate their feelings properly, because that's just going to be a whole, can of worms that you don't want to open, right? You don't want to stay with someone who can't communicate, because relationships are very complex, right? We need someone that we can really talk to and be honest with, because if that ex is someone that cannot be like that cannot communicate with you and cannot be that kind of person that you can talk to anything about and they can talk to you about anything about, then it's not going to work out in your favor. And if you're trying to really solve a problem but they're being stubborn, that you're really trying to figure something out and they're being stubborn about it and they're not willing to communicate, it's not going to be a very happy relationship or very fulfilling for you. So if you do have a stubborn ex that the no contact rule is never going to work on, then good, you don't want that back. You don't want that ex back, okay? But someone that, has their head screwed on, right? Who isn't someone who is stubborn like that, who is honest and, can communicate in a healthy way. If they do start to miss you, they will eventually reach out to you, okay? And you'll find out basically if they regret dumping you. Even though they may never say, look, I regret the breakup, can we get back together? Although they might say that, it's very unlikely that they're going to be that honest. It's probably more likely that if someone regrets dumping you, they're going to reach out to you, but it's going to be like a simple, hey, how are you? Just inquiring about you. What have you been up to? In a really positive way. And they're really chatty. And basically, if they're chatty and they want to continue the conversation, and perhaps they even try to meet up with you and ask to meet up with you, that's a good sign that they regret dumping you, okay? Someone that doesn't regret dumping you, who isn't, you'll just never hear from them again, basically. Unless they are someone who likes attention. Right? If they're someone that likes attention, then they'll come back into your life. Perhaps because they, maybe went out on a few dates that weren't successful and now they're just sort of clinging on to anybody that they can get, so they go back to their ex. Sometimes that sort of thing happens, which isn't a good trait, obviously. So if they do something like that, basically what you'll find out is that they want your attention and they're trying to perhaps get back with you, but the reason that they're picking you is because they're settling for you, and you don't want anyone that is just settling for you, because that's not going to be very fulfilling for them, and it's not going to be very fulfilling for you, because you're with someone that doesn't actually really want to be there, and they just keep on nitpicking at you and picking out your flaws and giving you every excuse to have a nag at you. So you don't want to be with someone that is just going back to you because they haven't found anyone better or something like that. You want to be with someone that really, really, really wants to be there, okay? So a video that might help, especially if you're thinking and considering going back into the dating world, is a video that I made called Become Insanely Attractive. So if you haven't watched that video already, then I highly recommend that you do. Sometimes when people look up videos like this one, like where they trying to make their ex regret dumping them, or they are hoping that their ex is feeling bad, because I have to kind of put this in here because sometimes people are looking for ways to get revenge on their ex. So a quote that I really like by Marcus Aurelius is, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. So it's not a great thing to be trying to take someone else down, because if you're trying to take someone else down, then they're already above you, okay? So basically you're just already showing by trying to tear someone down that you are in a weaker position than them, right? But of course, that only goes for those people out there that are hoping or trying to make their ex feel bad, trying to make them regret the decision to break up with them. So because you may never know if your ex actually regrets dumping you, and perhaps you've gone into like the no contact rule and you're doing the no contact rule on your ex, something that I believe really helps is looking back on the past relationship that you had, right? The last interaction that you had with them, looking back on the relationship as a whole, and figuring out what you did, what you felt you did right, and what you felt that you did wrong. Because you can't really change someone else. So this is why if an ex does come back into your life, it's more than likely that another breakup's going to happen and you two are going to split up again. Most of the time, from what I've seen, when exes do get back together, it's good for a little while. And then after some time has passed, maybe like about 2 or 3 months, they realize that this person hasn't changed, and that the relationship hasn't improved. And so they break things off permanently one final time. Or that kind of thing just keeps on repeating. They keep on breaking up and getting back together, keep on breaking up and getting back together, because things just don't change. So the reason why I think it's good to look back on the relationship and looking at what you've done, because you can't change their behavior, but you can change your own behavior, right? And when you go out and start dating new people, you can look out for the red flags, so if there are things that you didn't like in the previous relationship that your ex did, then you know that if you're on a date with someone and they kind of bring up something that is a bit like a red flag to you that kind of reminds you of your ex, then you know that you should no longer continue dating that person. And also when you look back on what you did wrong and what you did right, you'll know what things you need to work on. So working on your insecurities, working on the things that you're not good at, is really beneficial, okay? So let's say you're not great at dating. So if you're not great at dating, then I recommend reading 2 books. One of those is 3% Man by Corey Wayne. The second one is Models by Mark Manson. That should give you a good coverage over the dating world and the right techniques to use when you're dating. If you were not good at communicating, you weren't good at talking to your ex, you didn't really understand their temperament, you didn't understand, or you just found it really difficult to communicate with them, or whenever you did try to communicate with them and talk to them, it just ended in an argument or something like that, then I highly recommend that you get the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, because that'll help you with social skills in general and how to talk to people. And also Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus by John Gray. That's another way, especially if you really don't understand how the opposite sex's brains work. So if you're a woman watching this and you have absolutely no idea and you just don't have a clue as to how men communicate and how they like to be communicated to, then that book's for you. And it's also the same for men. Like if you don't understand women, if you read Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, you will start to understand them very, very quickly, okay? So work on your insecurities, work on your weaknesses, figure out what those things are, and you'll start to feel a lot better about yourself, because it's not great when you get dumped, right? And one of the best ways that you can start to feel more confident about yourself is if you start to fill in those knowledge gaps. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.